Welcome to La Petite Pause, your little break in the day. Tonight, I am sharing a story with you of a young girl named Odile. Odile is a girl who longed to meet the grandmothers and great grandmothers that she had never known. And one night, by the river, she discovered that the voices of her ancestors were never far away. This is the story of Odile and the River of Voices. In a small Cameroonian town near the Nyong River lived a 10-year-old girl named Odile. Odile was named after her grandmother, a woman that unfortunately she never met. Her mother often told her, "Your grandmother carried fire in her spirit and gentleness in her hands." Her auntie said, "You have her eyes, Odile, and you carry her name." At first, Odile felt proud. But as she grew older, she began to feel a heavy longing. She had never seen her grandmother's face, never heard her laughter. Sometimes, when the aunties sat around the fire telling the stories of the past, Odile felt tears sting her eyes. "I wish I could have met them," she whispered. "All the women who came before me, they sound so brave, so wise, but I will never know them." One night, the moon rose full and heavy, pouring silver light across the compound. Her mother and aunties sat by the fire, their voices weaving stories. They spoke of women who tilled the soil and made cassava grow, of women who sold palm oil in the market bargaining with steady voices, of women who raised children through tough times and carried home hope like water in a calabash. Odile listened, hugging her knees to her chest. But when the fire dimmed, the ache in her heart only grew stronger. That night, unable to sleep, Odile wandered quietly toward the river. The Nyong moved slowly, carrying the reflection of the moon. She crouched at the bank and stared into the water. Then she heard a whisper, "Odile." The reflection shifted, and suddenly she was not just seeing her own face, but the outlines of women behind her. They were dressed in wrappers of blue and red, indigo and yellow, and their eyes were glowing like lanterns. One of them stepped forward and said, "I am the grandmother whose name you carry, and these are the foremothers who came before me." Another woman stepped forward, her hands rough, and she said, "I carried firewood from the forest, and I fed my children with the strength of my arms." Another, her voice steady, added, "I traded palm oil in the market and taught the value of honesty." The last one said, "I raised children through hunger, carrying hope like water in a calabash." Odile's throat tightened. "I never met you. I wish I could sit at your feet, ask you questions, learn how to be strong like you," she whispered. Her grandmother's reflection leaned closer. "And yet, you carry us already. Every time your name is spoken, we are spoken too. We walk beside you. You are never alone." Another voice said, "Come to the river when you feel lost. Sit in the quiet. We will always come." The river rippled, the faces faded, and the moon shone alone once more. The next morning, Odile woke with strength instead of sadness. She looked at her mother and aunties and whispered, "I carry them. They carry me." From then on, whenever she longed for the foremothers that she had never met, Odile would return to the river at dusk, sit in silence, and without fail, every time the whispers will rise, the faces will emerge. Because though she had never met them in life, She would never walk without them. Now, let me tell you this story in French. Odile et la rivière des voix. Il y avait une petite fille de 10 ans qui s'appelait Odile, nommée après sa grand-mère qu'elle n'avait jamais connue. Ses tantes parlaient souvent d'elle au coin du feu, racontant des histoires de femmes courageuses, des grand-mères fortes, des tantes puissantes qui avaient travaillé la terre, vendu de l'huile de palme, élevé des familles dans des temps difficiles. Un soir, Odile marcha jusqu'à la rivière. La lune brillait sur l'eau et dans le silence, elle entendit une murmure. Odile, je suis la grand-mère dont tu portes le nom. Tu n'es jamais seule. Une autre voix ajouta, nous sommes dans tes pas, dans ta voix, dans ton cœur. Et Odile pleura doucement, mais son cœur se remplit de force. Et chaque fois qu'elle retournait à la rivière, au crépuscule, les voix revenaient, car même si elle ne les avait jamais connues dans la vie, elle ne marcherait jamais sans elles. Thank you for listening to Odile's story here on La Petite Pause. Stories like these remind us that our ancestors are never far. They walk with us, they speak through us, and they live in our names. Merci for taking this little break with me, and I will see you again next time. Bye bye.